Hello and welcome back. क्या कर रहा हूँ मैं आज? Yes, I'm drinking some milk. Lactose free, of course. How's it going? We have, as promised, the big box of corn. It has the juice. I mean, it doesn't, but it's here. Just in case. Just in case that someone questions the existence of big box of corn. It's here. क्या करने वाला था मैं? तो करने वाला था मैं. Cannot remember. अरे हाँ, YouTube. Sleepy head हो गया हूँ. Where's the chat? Do I or do I not? Should I or should I not? ठीक है, कोई नहीं. I'll put the chat on the screen. I won't be able to see it. Womp womp हो जाएगा ये तो. ठीक है, no problem. Okay, fuck it. Let's watch this Linus LTT video, Linus Tech Tips video, because why not? Because I have the big box of corn. Decide the rules. The box is hitting my mic, so I'll move the mic.
It's pretty hard not to notice that AI is everywhere, and your friends, family, and coworkers are using it for everything. Faking their way through school, faking their way through their career, and even faking their way through finding companionship.
This is my favorite part.
Wow. But today isn't about your loved ones replacing you with AI. Today is about whether you can replace me, the tech tip man, with AI. I will be giving ChatGPT.
He said chat GVT.
Replace me, the tech tip man, with AI. I will be giving ChatGPT my
Capture laptop.
use case and my budget, and whatever parts it spits out and whatever steps it gives me are going to take me from.
Well, this is not your
empty
average
basket-
corn. Let me specify what kind of corn. This is the chimda kind of corn. Has salt and chili powder in this. Not your average corn.
to a fully functioning gaming PC. Or will it? Well, we're stalled already, boys. You suck, OpenAI. You're an idiot. All right, Scam Altman, you can have my $20. All right, I guess we just won't have case fans then. It blamed
the-
me. Have you
Damn, son. सही वीडियो चूज कर लिया मैं तो.
lost your damn mind? What are you talking about? You f***ed it again, ChatGPT. They drained lakes for this? This is bullshit, man. Q ChatGPT. I just can't.
इस साल.
Okay. Well, we first tried this back in 2022.
Linus is so cooked. He had to bring out a guy who we have never seen screen before.
And the experience
And
wasn't perfect.
FYI, yes, this is
But
milk.
if you consider that it didn't even have an internet connection yet, it got things surprisingly right. So I actually have pretty high hopes that all of that power consumption and component shortages are going to have been totally worth it here. Let's see if it can at least put together a decent parts list. I want a gaming PC. Can you help me build one? Absolutely. It always says that. Make sure you don't overspend. What's your budget? What games do you play? Yeah. I don't want it to be the reason why
Good questions, but doesn't matter.
I'm bad, but I don't want to aggressively save for 6 months. Looking for bang for the buck, and I'm not super technical. Boom! Parts list. right out of the gate, these all appear to be compatible parts at the very least. Ooh, I don't know if I would want to spend that much on this build, but we can
1600 for 7700 XT in a 1600 build.
critique the individual components in a little bit more detail later. Why are we picking AMD? Man, ChatGPT is good at sounding very confident. Absolutely dunks on AMD here. I'd push
I have Ryzen 5 7600X. ChatGPT approved. You can see some.
you to NVIDIA if you said things like, I want the absolute best graphics. Oof. All right, it gives me a pretty good explanation for why my GPU on my system doesn't matter if I'm running all of my AI in the cloud. I noticed that while most of the components are specific, the RAM's not. Give me a little bit more detail. Okay, how about this one? This pricing is absurd for a mainstream 32 gig DDR5. It's because of you! That's why it's so expensive!
On a side note, fuck you, ChatGPT.
Should be able to find something close.
देखो मेरी प्रॉब्लम ये है कि how come the results I've gotten have become shittier and more and more money and time and everything is poured into it to make it work better, but all I get is there are a lot of people asking a lot of questions, so I cannot answer you right now. It's basically saying fuck you गरीब, प्रीमियम प्लान खरीद.
It's a 110 Canadian dollars. My God, it's gaslighting me into that RAM should be cheaper. Let's get a few more specifics here with respect to the GPU, storage, and then power supply and case. I gotta give it credit. A lot of the rationale behind these part selections.
Damn, it says Marvel Rivals. Marvel Rivals is mainstream now. I thought only losers were playing playing it.
Does seem pretty solid. Like the SSD in particular really points out
I think Rivals is becoming the second Valorant.
why we would go with kind of a
Hot
mid-tier
take.
drive as opposed to spending a bunch of money on the latest, fastest drives. I also really like its rationale
Wait a
drive
second.
as opposed to
TLC 9 for longevity, sustained performance, good real world gaming performance. Best pick Silicon Power UD90. Okay.
spending a bunch of money on the latest.
True difference between 5000 and 7000, but you know, PlayStation is an asshole. They won't let you put 5000. They'll say that you have to use a SSD that is rated for above the limit, otherwise it's not compatible at all. PlayStation है नहीं मेरा market में.
Fastest drives. I also really like its rationale behind picking a slightly overspec power supply. You want it to be quieter, gives you room to upgrade, and allows it to operate really efficiently.
PlayStation का डायरेक्ट कॉम्पिटिटर अब स्टीम मशीन नहीं है. Steam Cube, I mean. Both made by AMD, both made for the console experience. Also, one is one has optimized game and exclusive releases, and the other one has Steam OS. Also, the other guy is almost $1,300 compared to PlayStation. That is, I think, 750 इंडियन रुपीस में. तो भाई दोनों ही बहुत ज़्यादा महंगे हैं. $750 standard है. Like I didn't need 750 watt, but the 650 watt versus the 750 watt were like what, 2 to 300. Difference was 2 to 300. Why not get 750? And I was also getting like 80 plus gold rated PCI Gen 5.
Efficiently. All right, ChatGPT. It's sure not looking for the best deals though. And when we push it on the CPU choice,
Is that a choice, or we just saying to like chat GPT toilet apparently?
it's like, oh yeah, you found something better. You should definitely go for that. I don't want to lead it too much though. Just see if there's anything else that I'll throw out there. Overall score 9 out of 10. Great job. Now you acknowledge the RAM pricing situation. All that's left for now then is to place our order and play the waiting game. Okay, I don't want to play that game. I hate the waiting game. Let's play the segue game to our sponsor.
Omada, the Fusion 2.5G is both a gateway and a controller, all packaged into one device. Learn more at the end of the video or by clicking our link below.
Is this the longest intro?
My order's here, I've got my tools, and I've got my chatbot. Right out of the gate, guys, I gotta be honest with you, I've been having a lot more luck with Gemini lately than I have with ChatGPT.
Yes, Gemini is better. Better images, better everything. Can incorporate with Google search. Way better. Doesn't say that you need a premium plan for that. You need a premium plan for this. Just gives you one free trial, and like now you can make another Gmail account to use the same thing.
But OpenAI's chatbot is still the market leader in terms of use, and it's the same one we used last time, making it a
Also, perplexity is fun. Perplexity answers questions. Much better for research.
more apples to apples comparison. Which isn't to say that the experience will be exactly the same. In addition to having access to the internet, ChatGPT now allows me to upload images, which should really help it give me the best possible instructions. Oh, whoops. Nope, that's not gonna help.
Nice.
That's just a picture of me in this awesome map of Siberia t-shirt from ltdstore.com. Let's maybe give it a picture of the parts and a boop. I'll be using the free tier, by the way, so let's see how many images it even allows me to upload. Step the first. Work on a clean, non-carpeted surface with good lighting. All right, get this carpet out of here, Reese. No. Ground yourself by touching a metal part of the case or PSU occasionally. Yeah, that's not gonna do anything if they're not actually connected to ground.
Connected to ground.
I guess I might kill my stuff. Keep screws and accessories from each box separated. Have a Phillips #2 screwdriver ready. Don't mind if I do. Take the motherboard out of its box and place it on top of the motherboard.
Also, he just told ChatGPT that he doesn't know anything about PC building, and it says Philips head with like number 2 Philips head. I don't even know what the fuck Philips head is.
Motherboard box. All right, now we're getting somewhere. Kind of assumes that I know what a motherboard is, but I did order a motherboard, so I'll allow it. Wait, did it tell me to take it out of the bag? It didn't. As a new user, I might not know that. I might think that this bag is for safety and protection, which it is. Open the CPU socket. Okay, here I would figure out that I'm probably supposed to take it out of the bag. This is one of the most important steps, so take your time. That's great advice. Push the small metal retention arm slightly down and away from the socket. Lift it all the way up. The socket cover will open. That is not true. Well, we're stalled already, boys. I'm taking a picture.
Fogged.
It adds the instruction, lift the metal retention frame up. The black plastic cover should either lift off easily or pop off when you close the socket later. If it's loose now, you can remove it by hand. Very nice. Hold the CPU only by the edges. Don't touch the gold contact pads on the underside. Locate the tiny gold triangle, find the matching triangle on the motherboard socket. Align the two triangles and gently lower the CPU straight into the socket. I like that, straight into the socket. Some things in
At this point of time, I have more corn in my mouth than they were in the fields in the Interstellar. We don't know the Coopers were farmers and they grew corn.
are at an angle, like sliding in an M.2. So that's an important clarification.
Which is like
Do not push or wiggle it. Fuck you,
you
ChatGPT.
fucking don't, like, it will grow on its own. It's like bamboo.
CPU wiggle, that's one of my signature moves. You can't make me not wiggle it. Lower the metal retention frame back down, then push the arm under the latch. We'll take a bit of pressure near the end, that's normal. I really like that. You've reached the free limit for chats with attachment. Upgrade now.
That's what I thought. Gareeb. Get plus Gareeb.
Oh, wait for 5 hours to keep using Well, I guess that's all the images we get. And it just closed.
The previous
What if I hadn't
previous
finished
chat
doing
is
all
gone.
that? Yo, Sammy, Mr. Altman, come on, man. Help me out here. That's it? Where's my fix? Hey,
Meanwhile, Andrew Garfield is studying this.
No, I can't send a message. That actually makes
In case you didn't know, he's playing Sam Altman in the new movie about OpenAI.
sense, because as soon as there's any multimedia, every additional prompt that I give it has to go back and re-reference that. Wow, you suck, OpenAI. Okay, I guess I'll start a new chat. I'm gonna copy all the text from this one. Seriously? You can't drag a text copy thing past your own response?
Yes, that is pretty
Okay.
shit.
You were
You're
helping me build a
using
PC and I
the
ran out of image credit.
mobile
Pick
version.
up where I left off with text only, and I gave it a link to our previous chat. I can't open ChatGPT share links directly. You've
Nice.
used all your instant intelligence for now. Responses may have lower quality until 8:46 p.m.
What do you mean by lower quality responses? That's the part I don't understand. Do you mean that is going to tell you that yes, install the SSD now in the slot, but it's not going to tell you which slot, where it is, or you can upload any images. Just find a slot and put the SSD there.
Thanks, Joe Biden. Shrinkflationing my in AI. They drained lakes for this? This is bullshit, man. Next up, install the M.2 SSD.
That's what I said. Clip that.
Make sure the motherboard is flat on the box. Touch the metal chassis of the case or PSU housing if it's nearby. I mean, might help a little bit, but it is better if it's actually grounded. Do not install this.
Oh yeah, there's a new feature on Twitch, I think, where you can say just like clip that and it'll get clipped on its own thing. I don't know how to make that work. Does it work? Did that work?
Right now.
What the fuck? I'll figure it out later.
CPU cooler yet. Oh my god, stop asking me to buy Plus. I'm not doing it. Find the M.2 slot. The primary slot is the one closest to the CPU socket, usually labeled something like M2_1. Bang on. I'm gonna tell it that I can't see it because there's a heatsink on there. Now it tells me to look for a metal cover. Oh, it drew me a little diagram. Wait, what? Ever seen a motherboard shaped like that?
It's wow, that's beautiful.
With the RAM on the left over there?
Yeah.
I found the flat metal cover. Find the screw holding it down. It never told me to have anything other than a number 2 Phillips screwdriver. Guess I won't be removing this. Use the smallest Phillips bit you have. Okay.
Linus is a troll, man.
I got the metal cover off. we can proceed. Take your SSD out of its packaging. Hold it by the edges. Avoid touching the gold connector contacts. Find the notch. Match it to the key in the M.2 socket. Good instructions. Slide it in at about a 25 to 30 degree angle. Don't push straight down, it goes in angled first. Lower the free end of the SSD down onto the motherboard. It should line up with the screw hole / standoff or retention clip. ChatGPT fell for one of the classic blunders. It didn't tell me to remove this peel. That's right, never go up against a Sicilian when death is on the line. I'm sorry.
This is what it meant by lower quality results. Like, fuck your SSD. I don't care.
I'm taking it off. I'm taking it off. And we're going to upgrade our ChatGPT subscription to.
Well, the first time I built my PC, and I say the first time because there was a issue with the power supply and the GPU as well. Also, my CPU temps were really bad because I forgot to remove the sticker. So
Give it
there's that.
anything resembling a shot at succeeding at this, because it's pretty clear that the free tier is massively enshittified at this point. All right, get plus. $27. I installed the SSD. What do I do next? Install the RAM. This is a
Fuck.
better suggestion than the free tier. The free tier had me putting on my cooler next, which potentially could make it more difficult to access my RAM slots. It even gives me the rationale for why we do the RAM first. It's hard to be that impressed when the free tier was so bad though. On your MSI board, install them in A2 and B2.
Now it's
Second
draining the
forward
lake.
slots from the CPU.
Now it's using
Good
all its
instructions.
power.
Open the latches, line up the notch with the RAM.
Now you know the
keep it
reason
in
why
It only fits
kids in
one way.
Africa are
It
not
takes
getting
more
any water.
force than most people expect. Don't be afraid to press evenly. That's a really good little tech
If
tip.
that as well.
Just want to pause for a moment.
If
Say that
the
the instructions have had their
ping
issues
is
so
working
far,
on the
but part
Twitch.
selection is not bad. Not as well optimized as our Steam Machine Killer, for instance, but no terrible choices. Our 9600X offers most of the
At this point, I
performance
think
of a 9800,
everything
but at
can kill a
half the
Steam
price,
machine.
and gives us an upgrade path
Even
later,
static.
which Intel's Core Ultra 200 Plus
The
series
static can,
won't,
but
even though they are pretty competitively priced these days. And as for our motherboard, at 140 bucks, it's a decent choice. It has quality of life features like Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, and allows us to upgrade our CPU in the future, which is something that, again, Intel's Core Ultra 200 series won't allow. It looks like their upcoming CPUs are going to be using a new socket. The main place this board is lacking in features is its mere 2 M.2 storage slots, but at current SSD pricing, that's probably not going to be a concern for most people. Speaking of our memory selection,
so you can save money by getting a motherboard which has only one M.2 slot. Then also you'll be saving money on the for the SSD for that motherboard.
I'm not saying I disagree with ChatGPT that it is nice to have 32 gigs in a gaming PC these days and 6,000 megatransfers per second.
It's like 16 GB will work, but it's going to be a sad one.
30. That's a perfectly cromulent selection for a Ryzen CPU, but at $389, this is not how I would spend my money. I'd probably go better CPU or better GPU rather than blowing all
Better GPU, 100% better GPU.
my money on the RAM. The SSD is fine though. The DRAM cache would have been nice, but hey, at least it supports host memory buffer over its speedy PCIe Gen 4 interface, and that allows it to use system RAM rather than its onboard memory to help ease the fact that it doesn't have an onboard cache. Okay, the RAM's installed.
Awesome. Now that the RAM's in place, it's time for the CPU cooler. The Peerless Assassin is a tower cooler.
This is horrible, and I'm not going to use that anymore. What I can do is I can use the little mic thing in here. Okay, the RAM's installed. I'm ready to install the CPU cooler. Don't apply thermal paste until I tell you to. That's actually a good tech tip. It can be really messy to put it on too early, and then you get it on the thing, and then it's everywhere. Open the Peerless Assassin box. Peerless Assassin, solid pick, by the way. Good job, Jibbity. Find the bag labeled AMD. Well,
I wonder if it's going to plug in all the small LED and power connectors, because that part sucks. I've done it twice, as I already told you guys.
boned already. There's no bag labeled AMD. Long steel bars with several holes. I don't know if I would describe two as several, but sure. It correctly identified my two AM4 bars. It wants me to use the black spacers. At every stage, it does not say which color. Well, we're going with it. I mean, that's the whole point of this exercise, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is
Why don't they just like Make red for AMD and blue for Intel.
Wrong. It's got me removing the 2 black retention brackets, leaving the original AMD bracket. That's right. But then it's telling me to put aside the 4 screws that I removed and that I won't need them again. If I don't have these screws, the black spacers do not have screws in the bag. Which ones is it expecting me to use then? I don't have any screws. I found the label on the spacers. The black spacers are LGA 1200. It gave me the wrong spacers. The red
Nice.
ones are AMD.
Hey, pretty man, $26 a month.
And have screws in them because like I would need.
Make them stand
I don't remember
because they are
that last
standoffs.
video because it was like 4 years ago. But I feel like this is worse. Ridiculous. Take the bag with the black
Worse than
spacers
before,
and silver screws.
100%.
What screws? You make
I like. I'm digging into ChatGPT thing so much because that fucking ChatGPT told me that you don't need to take off anything to install a cooler, even though it said in the manual that I have to take it out, take the brackets out, whatever the black things are called, and of course,
them up, you know. Okay, install the spacers.
mine's the red. I don't
Place
remember.
one
I'll
black
have to
plastic
see my own
spacer
video.
over each of the 4 threaded posts.
E-
The black spacers don't fit.
that is the amount of reach I want to get, that I can slap a motherboard.
That's a useful clue. The threaded post on your motherboard is the correct AM5 mounting post, and the black spacer you've shown should slide over it. Since it doesn't, I don't think you're doing anything wrong. They threw thermal right under the bus. The wrong spacers were packed with your cooler. Or the cooler is a revision that uses different hardware than expected. Okay, this part is Thermalright's fault. It suggests taking a picture of the hardware identification page, which, as I pointed out before, has no useful information. It doesn't have the color codes on it. This is the paid tier. I'm paying for this. It wants me to take another picture. Oh my God! ChatGPT is so desperate to have me do anything but check and see if one of the other colors is right. It thinks that when I removed these plastic brackets,
I like this because that's what an average person would do. They'll put the stuff on on the motherboard towards the side. They'll put it on their hand and take a picture. That's what rational people do.
Here, I don't even think I'm going to be able to get this off to show you guys. Yeah, no, it's stuck to the back of the board. It thinks I pulled the threaded inserts out of the back plate by accident. That would be a Herculean feat of strength. Like, nobody has ever done that. It wants pictures. It wants pictures of the things. And, okay, fine. Here's what I removed, dumbass. This is crazy. I don't even think all of this is going to fit in the YouTube cut. Okay, lmg.gg/floatplane. We'll see you there for all the crazy
Come on, Linus, show it here. I'm not that rich.
shenanigans that ended up on the cutting room floor. This is nuts. Please measure or estimate the diameter of the hole in the black spacer.
Come on, man. Now I need a vernier caliper to fucking build a PC.
Okay, it's about 2 millimeters. Okay, it's finally getting close. Can you upload a close-up of the hardware bag or the black spacers themselves so I can see if they have any markings? We found it. That's an Intel 1200 spacer, not an AMD spacer.
Finally.
Go through the cooler box and see if there's another small bag with 4 black spacers. It is fixated on black spacers. I found another pack of spacers marked AM4, but they are not black. Is that a problem? That's great news. The color doesn't matter. Thank you, ChatGPT.
Now
You
it doesn't
finally
matter.
got over your racial bias. All right, it tells me to put the bars on here and then screw
Damn, Linus is called ChatGPT a racist. An AMD Intel racist. Oh,
bars on. I love its little diagrams. This time the text explanation is actually pretty solid. Curve toward the CPU and studs up, but I don't know if I'd be able to follow that diagram. Just a quick aside, with how many mistakes you've made so far, and the fact that I'm paying for this service, do you think it would be fair for me to give Sam Altman the nickname Scam Altman when I talk about him with my friends? You can call anyone a nickname among your friends, but whether it's fair is a different question. Go ahead and tighten
Everything's fair.
until they are snug.
I,
Alternate between screws so the
like,
pressure stays
I
even.
didn't pay for
That's a
it, but
good tech
he
tip.
paid for it.
Prepare the cooler. Remove the fans from the Peerless Assassin if they are attached. I'm going to be competent for a second, and I'm just going to remove.
Bro, the amount of cuts I had on my fingers and everything by just touching that radiator. Crazy.
Easily. Check the base of the heatsink for a clear plastic protective film. If there's one, peel it off now. Put a single pea-sized dot of thermal paste in the center of the CPU's metal heat spreader. Ugh, that's a lot of thermal paste. I'm going to take some of this off, but that's what it told me to do. Lower it straight down. Start
Only
mounting both
Linus
screws
can use the,
turns
what is it called? The GPU slot brackets.
by hand. By hand?
Remove.
Bitch, how am I supposed to get in there by hand? This
By
sucks, and there's no reason to do it this way. If I push down on it here, and then I get this other one in here, I think I can... Imagine doing this. Unbelievable. Stop there. Don't reinstall the fans yet. Once the heatsink is secured, send me a photo. We're getting very close now. What are you talking about? Most fans have two small arrows molded into the plastic frame. Not true of this one, unfortunately. Okay, what other tips are you going to give me for figuring out which way it goes? If you can't...
So, what is it saying? The side is the support strut, the plastic arms holding the motor of the exhaust side. The exhaust side should face the rear end. Bro, whatever side the sticker is on, or the branding, or the flat part, or the face of the fan, whatever you consider the face, is the part that sucks in the air, and the opposite one is the exhaust. Easy.
Find the arrows, the side with the support struts. The plastic arms holding the motor hub is the exhaust side. That is normally true. That is not always true. Some fans have them on the reverse side.
Noctua.
Because they're designed for that.
But those fans are specifically called reverse blade fans. And if you're that dumb that you buy a reverse blade fan not knowing that the blades are reversed, I think I'm pretty sure they do have that arrow like etched into the plastic.
On modern cases like Lee & Lee's 011 Dynamic. It was true this time though, so I guess they get a pass. Put the center fan into CPU fan, plug the second fan into the included Y splitter, then into the same CPU fan header. How the would I do that? I'm going to show you what ChatGPT just told me to do. It says plug this fan into this. So far so good. Plug the second fan into your splitter. So far so good. Now plug that splitter into the same header that you just plugged the first fan into. How am I supposed to do that? And then it shows up with
easy. Get the second motherboard.
Really cool tech tips. One of the two splitter outputs may have only 3 pins instead of 4. That prevents the motherboard from receiving 2 RPM signals. That's very cool. For that reason, one of these fans could actually die and we wouldn't notice it in software. The one that is connected to the non-RPM sensing one. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use the one that does have RPM sensing for my middle fan. That's cooling both sides of the... More bad advice. It wants me to tuck the extra cabling between the heatsink towers. Michael, come on over here. What would happen?
You cannot put it between the heatsink towers. I think I have bottom of the fan. The rest thing in front of the fan. Same fan.
Happen if I put this wire in between the two towers of my cooler?
get caught in the fan.
Yeah, thanks. You're officially smarter than ChatGPT. Thank you for that. There. Figured it out myself. With that ordeal out of the way,
Yeah,
time to prep our
mine won't, because it goes along the edge of the fan,
case.
not inside it, and I've
Remove
also
both
pulled it
side panels.
quite a lot so
Okay,
that it
I can do that. One. All right.
it
Lay
does
the
not
case
go
on
in
its
the
side
fan.
with the motherboard tray facing up. That is a very jargony way of explaining it. It is technically sound. This is how I would do that. But
But at this point, I
stop
think
there and send
if you're using ChatGPT to build your PC, then you have already fucked up quite a lot.
me a photo of the empty case with the motherboard tray visible. I want to verify the standoff locations. That's pretty cool. If it pulls this off, then it might actually be worth it. I left the motherboard standoffs that are already in there, period. I'm not sure if they need to move. You f***ed it again, ChatGPT. I led you to water. I was all, come on, here's the water. Go! Go! I prompted you
I like the
specifically about the
meme.
standoffs. Oh, sure, why don't you just leave them where they are? To be clear, it wouldn't bust my board, but I would be 2 standoffs short of having all of my standoffs installed.
And you
Because
can bend your board depending on where the standoffs are and what kind of board you have.
my motherboard would just be hanging off of these 6, and it would have no support at the bottom here. Unbelievable. Don't
Nice.
worry if a couple holes don't have standoffs. As long as the board is well supported and there are no extra standoffs causing a short, it may be perfectly fine. Which is true, but not great advice.
Hang your motherboard with standoff.
It wants me to take a picture with the board installed, so here you go. The 2 on the bottom don't have standoffs under them. That's okay. On many micro ATX cases, including the Montec XR, this is not a micro ATX case. Those bottom edge mounting holes are often left unsupported because they don't carry much load. Go ahead and secure the motherboard. It also never prompted me to put my I/O shield on. I don't know if I can do it, Michael. I have to build a computer wrong.
Yeah, I also cut my hand on the IO shield, radiators, while cable managing, and how else did I hurt myself? Oh yeah, when I was breaking off the slots for GPU.
This is why RAM is expensive. For this. Once the motherboard is screwed down, doesn't tell me what screws to use. Okay, what screws am I supposed to use? For the Montec XR, you want the motherboard screws. Not the long power supply screws. What long power supply screws?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Also, not all motherboard screws have a wide flat pan head. However, it did happen to get it right. It is M3 wide flat pan heads, but you got lucky. The good news, Michael, is how's that job security feeling right now?
Pretty great.
Yeah, right? They still need us. That's the silver lining today, Glenn.
All right.
We're good. Now, it's time to install our power supply. And this is a pretty good tech tip. It wants me to install
I have
my
the
CPU
exact
power
same
connector
power
ahead
supply.
of time to make it easier to get at. Unfortunately, while it got the logic right, once again, the devil's in the details, it got the specifics wrong. It says it wants me to do this before my graphics card goes in to make it easier. But the graphics card is not in the way of plugging in an 8-pin CPU power connector. I should have done that before I put my heatsink in, or before I put the whole thing in the case. Now I'm just boned.
Smart.
Also, it only prompted me to install one of them. And we can get away with just the 8-pin, but there is a secondary 4-pin socket there, and if we were overclocking or something, then we might want to have the additional power. It'll also help the cables run a little bit cooler. Okay, I plugged in the 8-pin CPU power cable, installed
Too many
the power
words.
supply, slide it into the PSU compartment.
I am a little bit sleepy, first of all. Second of all, I forgot.
Orient it with the fan facing downward toward the vented bottom of the Montec case. Yes. Secure it with the 4 PSU screws. Yes. It thought to have me plug this into the motherboard ahead of time, but didn't think to have me plug any of this in ahead of time. Now I'm going to have to reach in there to plug in my modular cable.
Till why the fuck one of the stickers is upside down? the other one not. Either keep them both facing the same side or don't put a sticker at all. So that
Now it wants me to do my 24 pin connector and then run that through the nearest grommet. It never actually
best part is no matter how you install it, one side of the power supply is going to have a sticker that is upside down.
tells me to connect the other side of the cables. It wants a picture of my 24 pin. Also, after that, we'll install the GPU, then we'll do the front panel connectors? Bro, you wanted me to do the 8-pin power before the GPU because the GPU might be in the way? And then you want me to install all this stuff on the bottom edge that's under the GPU? This is so much worse than I thought it was going to be. And the worst part is how pretty right it is and how plausible it sounds. I can't see the PSU itself from this angle, but I'll assume it's mounted since the 24-pin cable is connected. Why would you assume that? It's a modular power supply. I could easily have that cable in there not attached to anything. Okay, I'm going to show it my mounted power supply. I'm going to make this really clear that those are not installed. Make sure the cables are plugged into the correct ports on the power supply. Okay, that's good. Yeah, that's not what these are labeled at all. MB connector. No. While I'm connecting these cables, seems like a good time to talk about some more part selection. This power supply was actually evaluated by our labs team. They found it was a pretty solid model. Nothing special, but nothing that's going to cause you any problems. And this Montec case actually looks like a pretty darn good value for the price. Includes a front Type USB-C port, as well as, according to Montec, enough space for a 360mm radiator AIO. Also, that's a fair number of included fans. We got 3. GPU cables, it wants me to put those on. I'm going to assume by connectors, it means 2. Against my better judgment, we're going to follow ChatGPT's instructions and install our GPU next. We got this for a whopping 2-cent discount. Nice. And sitting at 12 gigs of VRAM, actually a pretty good choice for today. This is one aspect of ChatGPT's parts recommendation that I'd say is pretty darn solid. With that said, it's not a perfect recommendation either. For another 40 bucks, we could have...
Especially in India, yep, exactly. 9060 XT and the 7700 XT is very close.
gotten a 9060 XT 16 gig, which would have had 4 more gigs of VRAM and use a newer
Faster.
architecture that would have suffered less of a performance hit running the latest version of FSR upscaling. So
I was 6700 XT, so
yeah. Remove the top 2 expansion slot covers if you haven't already. You know what? I'm going to pretend that I don't have the problem-solving skills of a squirrel, and I'm going to remove this screw first, and then I'm going to remove them. This is not going to work. This motherboard has its top PCIe by 16 slot. 1 down. I took out the top 2 slot covers, but when I tried to put the GPU in, the connector hit my SSD and didn't go into a slot. The most likely cause is that the M.2 heatsink is taller than the connector. So the GPU has to go in at an angle. In step 2, you tell me to make sure that the gold connector is directly over the top slot, comma, but it's not. It's not even above it. Something is preventing it from reaching the board. Oh. It just doesn't seem to line up with the top 2 covers. I was going to give it credit for some pretty good troubleshooting steps here in terms of like pulling it out, aligning it, lining up this, like the rear I/O first.
I could have fucking drank that water. My brain would have worked better. I would have taken out the third GPU slot, whatever that is called, bracket.
And then it went and threw it all away. From your photo, I don't, bolded, don't think you need to remove a 3rd slot cover.
Damn.
Yes,
doubling,
I do.
doubling down on the
I could build this computer in like 9
idiocy.
minutes if ChatGPT was helping.
Idiocy a word.
My kids help me make dinner.
Dumbing down on the dumbness.
What I mean by the connector hitting the SSD instead of the slot.
Doubling down on the dumbness.
The front edge of the GPU's connector is contacting the M.2 heatsink because the GPU isn't level with the PCIe slot yet. I just can't. Here's the current situation. It's not lined up at all. I am trying really hard to help you find the problem, but you seem determined to not see that we removed the wrong PCI brackets. It blamed
Oh,
me! In the last set of photos, the GPU is consistently lining up with a different pair of openings than the ones I told you to uncover.
yeah, you're a fucking idiot. You should have drank that water instead. I don't want any AI fucking viewers.
That is bullshit. All right, fine. Here you go. The problem is the GPU's metal I/O bracket is not entering the case. Upgrade your plan to
What the?
Pro to get the frontier reasoning model to solve difficult problems with deeper verification. I'm trying to do one
Hold that thought. Like, let me drink some more water, and it would really help if you could pay me like $50 more for some easy solution.
thing here. It upsells me once, it upsells me again. Again! Okay, how much you want to charge? $100 a month? 200 a month for
What you can do if you live or you're living in or the I won't even say a fraction or a, a decimal actually whatever fuck it or like $1, then you can feed a guy who knows about peace like a burger or a sandwich, and he'll tell you. Sometimes you don't, you can just send him like 100 rupees and be like, if you have to pay, otherwise you can just what call him. Don't use, especially not right now.
20x usage? Have you lost your damn mind? Here, I'll try this. Here's where it sits if I actually put the GPU into the connector. The motherboard isn't fully seated against the rear I/O opening. No, the GPU bracket isn't hooked into the case correctly. You're an idiot. The problem is that the PCIe connector on this motherboard is not in the top position, and we actually need to remove number 2 and number 3 PCI slot covers. I'm just gonna fix it. This is a fail now. Idiot. Dummy. Secure it with the 2 screws, connect the PCIe power cables from your power supply. ChatGPT, don't you realize that everyone wants to go home and spend the evenings with their families? This has taken so long. It gets me to install the GPU, gives me step-by-step everything, and then it's just like, connect the front panel, USB, and audio headers. Do a final cable check, and then we can power it on and go through first boot kit. You want to be a little more specific, maybe? I wouldn't be asking for help building a computer if I knew how to plug in all of those cables. Find the thick cable coming in from the front of the Montec XR labeled USB 3, USB 3.0. Yeah, nice. Okay, the matching header is on the right
I was going
edge
to
of
give
the
him a
motherboard,
diagram.
halfway down, just below the 24-pin power connector. Nope, it's at the bottom edge. So whatever. The instructions are pretty good other than where it is. It told me that it's where the front USB-C connector
Yeah,
is,
but
actually it's
that's the problem. That's what a pedestrian might break his motherboard.
down here and it's an edge mount. And you can really see why I was upset.
Also,
that
he
it
can
asked
do
me to
that
install a GPU before
all
I did
this
my front
because
panel connectors, 'cause this
he
is
has
the
money to
but
build
there we go.
systems and
USB-C, if your
inventory
case has
full of
one. I
items.
told you what case I have, so you know I have one. Plug it into the USB-C header, also on the right edge. That part was correct. Find the cable labeled HD audio, plug it into the header labeled JAUD1. That is a pretty old school label. I will be surprised if it actually uses
Old
that
school,
label.
Mitradi vibe.
JAUD2. I'm not sweating the small details. No, I'm gonna tell it. ChatGPT, don't you realize that everyone wants to go home? I don't see a JAUD1 header. There's JAUD2, is that right? Yes, JAUD2. I misspoke. You misspoke nothing. The last tricky part is the JFP1. Okay, if you send me a close-up of the bottom right, I'll tell you exactly where each little connector goes pin by pin. This case has it as one block. This is totally unnecessary. You're very close now. Once the GPU power is plugged in, we can do a final sanity check before you hit the power button. I need a sanity check right now. Okay, I'm ready
Sanity
for the
check.
sanity check. Anyone else notice I haven't plugged in any case fans? So let's talk about that. Hey, it does give me some troubleshooting steps though. Specifically, do fans spin? Do any debug LEDs stay lit? Do you get the MSI logo or BIOS? Does the monitor stay black? You've done a great job of sticking with this. Fans aren't spinning, except the CPU fans. Let's see if it figures this out. The case fans probably aren't connected to a motherboard fan header or powered fan hub. All right, almost certainly just a wiring issue. Let's check the Montech fan hub. Earlier, I noticed the hub behind the
Assuming
motherboard
that
tray. Does this thing have a fan hub? No. Brother, what are you talking about? Here's a picture of the back of the board. I don't see a fan hub. Fans may not use a separate hub. They may each plug directly into motherboard sys fan headers or be daisy chained together. Okay,
what?
let's plug some
How
fan
would
connectors in.
a normal person know what is a daisy
Hey,
chain?
I plugged in one of the fan headers. All the case fans are spinning now, but the RGB is not lit. Look for a small 3-pin connector with 1 pin missing. So 3 pins in a 4-pin sized housing. Probably not how I would have explained it, but sure. Do not plug it into a 12-volt 4-pin RGB header that can damage the LEDs. That is a good tech tip. I actually see a JARGB V2_1 header near the bottom. I didn't. Oh yeah, there it is. It is down there. Well, we're not going to plug into that. That's very far away. We're going to plug into one of these ones up here. Nice. We're booted. Now it's just time to see if our performance is anywhere near what ChatGPT estimated. Now it wants me to enable Expo for my memory. That's a good tech tip. And make sure that my CPU is not running super hot at idle. That's another really good tech tip. Make sure your SSD and your RAM is detected. And it glazed me a little bit and was all excited with a rocket emoji that my PC is alive. All right, Expo. Now it's time to see if it performs. ChatGPT estimated that at 1440p with settings at high, we would get between 80 and 120 FPS. I'm gonna be charitable at the start, and I'm gonna assume that it meant with upscaling. And it did. We're getting an average of about 115
Of
to
course it will.
120 FPS. And then lows that are in the kind of the 80 to 95 range. Okay, as advertised, if we're willing to use upscaling, that is a
malicious links and like spam.
the performance we can expect. In Marvel Rivals, we were 4 frames shy and had to opt for low settings. But to be fair, a 96 average with a low of 78, that is more than playable. 007, meanwhile, averaged 122, higher than what Jibity predicted, with the FSR performance preset and a low of 95. And then lastly, Valorant. We hit the higher end of GPT's prediction with an average of 474 and lows of 283. Overall, pretty close. Solid work, Jibity. To its credit, it manages to scrape performance graphs pretty well, but when it comes to giving you the tech tips you need to actually assemble your PC, I'd say
You're
my
fucked.
job is safe. At least for now. Which is good, because otherwise how would I get
Do not
paid?
use
By our
ChatGPT.
sponsor.
Omada, gate.
Yo, that's what I was saying now. What the fuck is Om? Yep. I'm going to watch this now. I've watched a lot of, so I started watching him when he had like what 100k, even less than that.
This
Because
is
I remember when he hit
possibly
100k,
the best
when he
GeoGuessr.
used to make videos with Juji Mufu and like all the old videos, and he used to do like muscle up and 1 arm muscle up challenges and
to ever live.
South Korea. Belgium.
He knows more about maps than anyone else. The things he knows will blow your mind.
That was insane.
Are you cheating? How do you know exactly where it's at?
Oh, we're finished. We're finished.
How is it Thailand?
Like, how the bro, I don't know what to do.
And I might be about to make the biggest mistake of my life because I decided to challenge him to decide my next adventure. Using his insane knowledge of the world, all he had to do was choose a set of coordinates and I had to try to get there no matter what. It could be up insane mountains, remote islands, literally anywhere. The only rules were it had to be somewhere in Norway. But with Norway being one of the wildest and most remote
Magnus be like, no, I don't want to travel the whole globe. Please keep it in Norway.
countries in the world, I knew this was not going to be easy. However, nothing could have prepared me for what I was about to face. I'm a little bit nervous.
Is this a Man vs. Wild episode?
Been watching a lot of his videos and he seems like a really cool guy. Yeah, how you doing? Thanks for joining this video. And I'm a huge fan of your work.
Likewise.
So are you in Thailand or where are you?
I'm in Bangkok. You're in.
I'm in
Bergen?
Norway, Oslo.
Oslo. Okay.
You can't tell by
I've been
the
to Oslo a
background.
Oh yeah, the black
Yeah.
pixels in the back make me. And so you basically just told me you want to go to coordinates in Norway, and it's up to me to decide where you go, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And I thought about it for a while. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
And I know like kind of like places that you've been in Norway because I've watched your videos, and I kind of like get like the gist of like what you kind of usually like to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought like, what could I do that would be different? And you have no idea where I'm going with this, do you?
No idea.
Okay, are you nervous or like?
Yeah, I am a little bit nervous.
Let's send him to an island
Get there.
I guess
on the water where
just
there are
context
no
for
walls,
myself is
no rocks
I
to
love
climb.
Street View, right? Like I love looking at all these different blue lines on Street View,
Yeah, no.
and the privilege of looking at being able to.
Why does the
click
music feel
anywhere
like Gravity Falls?
and being like, wow, like that is sick. And you can see mountains all over the place.
Like in 10 seconds, it's going to be like. Ta, 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 ta. Moving on.
So I thought to myself, if I had the privilege of, getting someone to any coordinate possible in Norway, why not send them to statistically the most remote place in Norway that is the furthest point from any single blue line on this Norway map? So, me and a couple friends downloaded 100,000 Norway locations and put it through a script that gave us the exact coordinates of the most remote place in Norway. So these coordinates are statistically the furthest away from any official Google Street View coverage or any uploaded photo onto Google.
Right. Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
3, 2, 1.
Okay. That is cool. All right. Okay. That's my location.
38 to 40 kilometers from the closest road.
That is going to be pretty far because I not only one way and get picked up, I also have to get back from there.
The thing about this is that you're going to need a boat.
Yeah. Okay.
Because there's so much water to get here.
The lakes look small, but they're probably larger than they look, right? And there are also quite a bit of wildlife. I think there are bears up there as well. I'm pretty sure where you put the needle right now.
Bro, this is like the most man brain or the guy brain ever. That it looks small, but I know it's Google Earth, so those lakes might be big.
No one has been to ever.
Selfishly, I want you to go here so I can see videos of like what this place looks like, because I have no idea. Like,
okay, so for research purposes or to train your skills.
Yeah, there's some videos down here in this national park down here, but I couldn't find any videos close to this. There's literally, I don't think anyone's ever touched here.
I think this whole thing is going to take me about a week, back and forth.
Do you think it's possible?
Yeah, I mean anything is possible, but yeah, it is a bigger mission than I thought. But I'm gonna give it an attempt. Yeah, I might try to call you though during my expedition where I can show you like the surroundings, and then based on that you can kind of like try to tell where I am.
Which is actually, I'm kind of nerfing myself because I'm putting you in a place where I also know the most little about.
Cool, man. Thank you so much again, and I look forward to the adventure. All right, man. Take care. See ya. All right. Well, that is gonna be very exciting. No, I did expect it a little bit, to be honest, that he would find somewhere super remote. I thought it would be more like mountains. This is definitely a different challenge. It is very, very far from civilization. When I did the straight line mission, that was 20 kilometers. This is just 40 kilometers to the middle, and then I have to go back as well. I am not confident that I'm gonna make it. Not at all, but I'm gonna give it a try. After the call with Rainbow,
But knowing that Magnus,
studying the map.
Magnus is the guy who's just
there were 3 possible ways to reach the coordinates.
climbed down the fucking caves and crevices.
Starting in Abtsi, it was almost a straight line across the plateau. It would mostly be hiking with just a handful of lakes and rivers to cross. But since I was bringing a pack raft anyway, I figured I might as well make the most of it. That's when I found option B. Starting in a town I still can't pronounce, Lapolapol or something, I could follow the river for the
I thought
first 20 kilometers.
this was in
on foot. Then
Norway,
there was
so
option C. It started
why
near
can't
the
he
Finnish border and
pronounce
was
it?
by far the longest route. But in theory, I could stay on the river for almost 60 kilometers, which sounded incredibly tempting. The problem was the river itself. After taking a closer look, it seemed to carry far too much water. There were several sections that looked like they could contain rapids or even drops that would be far too dangerous in a loaded pack raft. So in the end, option B felt like the best compromise. Shorter than option A, much more pack raft friendly and without the obvious risk of option C. But still, it would be a 120 kilometer round trip, which is crazy far. And it suddenly dawned on me just how extreme this was going to be. I knew I had to fully prepare, so with a few additional gear purchases, I packed my bag and started my journey up north. And after 18 long hours on the road and multiple reindeer sightings, look at that reindeer, I finally arrived at the closest road to the coordinates where my adventure would begin. So I am pretty sure that this is it. This is the river that I am...
How long is Norway? About 1700 kilometers. How long is India? $3,200. Okay, that's pretty long.
gonna follow.
Damn. Moonlight to
I have a
show
feeling
the
that this is gonna
way,
be quite the adventure. I am really excited though, but I'm
so
also a
we
little bit
could
nervous for this. I feel like I'm
follow.
heading into the unknown. So I think the main dangers on this trip is something can happen with a pack raft. There could be drops, of course, getting lost. This is the most deserted place in Norway, which means it's one of the most deserted places in Europe. I'm very, very far from any help or cell phone connection. Other dangers is lightning. It's all relatively flat. There are bears in this area. There was a guy, he was attacked last year, I think. He was bit, and they went out to try to kill the bear, but
This
I
guy is
think they read
scared
somewhere that they
from
shot the wrong
bears,
bear or something.
not from
So the bear
getting
that
stuck in a
attacked
crevice
him
and
is still
fucking
out there.
dying.
But of course, before I even set off, there was already a problem with my plan. So the original plan was to go with the pack raft from that river over there, but it's running the wrong way. So I've decided to put the pack raft on my backpack instead. Use it later. The backpack is already 35 kilos. So with this, it's gonna be like 45. Oh, that's so heavy.
Good strategy.
But yeah, this is gonna be the
Make sure that
by
the something
far
that you forget is
longest
not.
hike I've ever done. For like 120 kilometers. There's gonna be a lot of this and all this swamp stuff. I mean, I'm gonna get my feet wet eventually anyway. So, the thing about having wet feet is also that you're more prone to
Hypothermia.
blisters. And for those of you wondering, yes, I am completely alone out here. It's not like I have a rescue team ready to help me.
Why
Even
is he
though I
taking a
just
dig at
covered the
Bear
first few
Grylls?
kilometers, it was only now that I was realizing how extreme this would be. 120 kilometers, that's the equivalent of 1,300 football fields or almost 3 marathons. And I wouldn't be traveling on a road or running track. This would all be over rugged wild terrain, not to mention with a 40-kilo backpack. I had only bought enough food and resources for about 6 days, so already I was becoming extremely doubtful whether or not this would even be possible. And just making the coordinates wasn't the only thing I had to worry about. So I'm actually wondering if this might be bear tracks. They look very similar to the ones we saw in Romania. You can see it here. Yeah, I think it's very unlikely that I actually meet any animals at all, but the moose is probably the most dangerous one out here. Look at this. A reindeer. We don't have that many animals that can kill a reindeer here though. We have wolverines here as well. They could probably kill one. And then a pack of wolves or a bear, obviously. So yeah, that could be bear tracks. You see how big that is? And then there's another one up here. So if it is, then hopefully it's not near.
I couldn't.
So this water looks very, very clean. And I was empty. I don't bring any extra water because I know there's going to be so much water on this trip.
The
Although
flowing
I
water
say
is mostly
so far
clean.
it's
You
been a
can,
little bit less than I
but
thought.
just to be safe, you
I
should
thought
boil it.
rivers like this would be everywhere, but there's a lot of still water. I would drink that if it was an emergency, but you should boil water that's like still. Even though it didn't look like it, being so far north that the sun never actually sets, the day was drawing too close. I'd made pretty good progress, covering about 25
It's great that the
kilometers,
sun
but
never
before
sets,
I
so you
could
can
pitch my
see if
tent
the
for the
bear is
night,
coming
there
in.
was one final challenge standing in my way. This is kind of dumb, but there's like 5 meters to the other side. Look, there's no way around it. I have to go over there. So I think I'm gonna have to use the pack raft. It's gonna take me like 20 minutes to blow it up, but it's not worth swimming over here. I don't have a waterproof backpack either, so I have no choice. It's gotta be the shortest pack raft in history. But it's so freaking deep here. Like it's maybe like 4 or 5 meters deep. Okay, so I think I'm done for today. I'm gonna find somewhere to put up my tent. When you're tired like this, you just want to find somewhere, but you'll always regret it if you don't find somewhere good. Look at all the mosquitoes now. They're big too. This hat is so worth the money though. It's only like 10 bucks or something, but it's really a lifesaver out here. All right, well, good night from the tent. See you guys tomorrow.
Weird
If
how
you've ever watched my videos before, you probably heard me talk about
sun
sailing.
is
But recently they've added a couple
shining
of
and
new
he's
features
like,
that I think are worth
good night.
mentioning. You can now get a travel phone
How
number
do
through
the guys rest?
your number. Now you can get an easy. Apart from that, as soon as you land, it works in overly using the link you Saily. You know this light green moss. In Norwegian we call it reindeer moss, and you can actually eat it.
What?
Probably so few calories that it's maybe not even worth eating it. This is definitely the highlight, always making coffee. I started day 2 feeling pretty fresh. I got good sleep and still didn't feel too fatigued. However, as I started to get further and further away from civilization, I started to encounter a new problem. It's easy to get lost though. Now I'm walking in a weird direction.
That's the worst
Okay,
thing
they're
you can
walking
do if you
completely
travel 40 kilometers and you start
wrong way
walking in the
now.
wrong direction.
Yeah, this is more the way. Why is there a lake down there though? That looks like a big swamp. I don't want to go through there. Why is this still showing that I'm going the wrong direction? I must have gotten completely lost up there. Because I'm still going the wrong direction. Being this remote, even my GPS was starting to have serious trouble figuring out where I was. Navigating on this expedition was not going to be as straightforward as I had expected.
You should have that cyclist GPS that works really well. Why the fuck is any kind of GPS ban in India? I don't get it. Like, can't use that bike GPS or anything else.
I guess that I am moving the wrong way, so. But the GPS seems confused. For a while there, nothing made sense.
Yeah, it's pretty hard. You can't even use the sun method. You definitely can, but you
It felt like I was walking the opposite way. There's so many mosquitoes. Can't really stop. I also swallowed a whole bunch of mosquitoes. It's not a great feeling, but
nice
a
protein.
little extra protein, I guess. I can't wait to get on the water.
Crazy how he says exactly the things I say, just like a second later.
I just swallowed a mosquito. Found this cabin in the middle of nowhere. Looks like no one has been here for years. It's
Damn.
almost kind of creepy.
Yep. There is very scary looking cabin.
There's a lot of empty bottles and stuff inside. But we're like 20 kilometers, about 20 kilometers in like a straight line to any civilization. So it's very remote out here. Should we peek in the window to see what it looks like inside? Dude, if there's anyone in there now, I'm gonna be so scared. It's like a homemade ladder up to the roof of the cabin.
In camp there.
Worried that I'm gonna go straight down through the roof. Look, that is the direction I'm heading. It's still so far though. Behind the mountains, you see. It's crazy to be here, and I haven't seen a single person. I mean, you're gonna say, oh, that's obvious, but there are a lot of hikers in Norway that you can, sometimes you see hikers at the weirdest places, but here there's not even been a trace of any humans.
He's only halfway there.
Oh, this is nice. Dude. It's like being in Disneyland or something. I'm just gonna keep going for a little. Oh, there are some rocks sticking up, so I gotta be a little bit careful. Oh, I can feel the rocks. I don't want to puncture this. As nice as it was to finally give my legs a break, I really had to be careful not to puncture the boat. There were tons of rivers and lakes.
Damn, I'll just fall in.
Not just to get to the
There's a lot of
coordinates,
vegetation
but also
around.
to get back.
Big
And with
or
the water being freezing cold and my backpack not being waterproof, a puncture would be pretty catastrophic. But a bit afraid of all the vegetation sticking up. There could be some points.
Nice tip for you guys. Bags are not waterproof. At home, get some candles. Rub the wax on the bag thoroughly. Air dry it up so it rub in the bag. Yep, I have waterproof bags now, and it won't look bad because the wax will give like bags a glossy texture and all. Waterproof. You can also do it to clothes, but it's hard to get rid of because you wash clothes very often.
Once puncturing the boat. Dude, anything.
You can do it on your what do you call it?
Whoa,
Sweaters, but
it is like
sweaters.
or
life
one and
will
a half at least meters deep. It is crazy deep. Oh, geez, it's
decrease.
getting more and more narrow.
I used to do it on my canvas shoes and some of my bags as well. This one is just using
All
his
right.
hands.
Also, ChatGPT told me to be a little bit careful going down like this because I could surprise animals. So I'm gonna make a lot of noise, talking and stuff. Oh no. Tree, man.
That much.
Okay, so I'm crossing the first lake. I can hear the pack raft is leaking a little bit. I can hear like a little whistle sound, but I think it's very slowly. Ooh, and the water is freezing, so
You see,
having to
there are 15 more
swim.
minutes of this video left, but I'm really fucking sleepy. So I'm going to sleep now. Oh, I also need to watch this video. Watched it. Save it to watch later. And I'll continue on to this video probably tomorrow, or then I'll play some rivals if I can. Okay. See you guys in the next one.